Alright, what can I get you for?
Just the water for me, Tar. It's been a long night.
Do you want to talk about it, fella?
Nah, it's alright. I guess I'm just really nervous about tomorrow. I'm returning from injury.
Why does that make you nervous?
Because I don't want to let the team down. I guess I'm just feeling the pressure.
You should be celebrating. It's a big occasion for the team.
I know. It's just really hard.
Well, you know, instead of all that,
What?
I said, get some vodka down you, you'll feel better.
Alright. Woo! Holy fucking shit, boys! Wallace is on his way!
Good.
How is it going, PPL fans, and welcome back to PPL Division 2 Season 4 Week 9, where Birmingham Spritzee are going to be playing against Livwurmple FC, which are usually coached by, Richie, but Richie had to leave, so now it's coached by Slyro, but Slyro's had to find a backup coach, so he's had to ask Bill Standish to stand in for him. So it's quite a weird situation they have there. Richie had to leave for personal reasons, and Slyro graciously stepped in to fill the void, but Slyro is moving house at the moment, so he's had to make sure that he gets someone else to play the game for him, which it's quite interesting because I usually enjoy playing against Slyro. We have decent games, he's always good fun, he's a great sport, one of my good friends online, but I've never played against Bill Standish, so I've heard he's quite creative with his mons, and I was looking forward to seeing what he could do against me. I really enjoyed my game against him, and I'm going to show you what happened, so yeah. The team that Livwurmple have, which will appear on screen now, is Tapubulu, Slowbro, Empoleon, Gudra, Gliscor, Rotom Heat, Tornadus Therian, Miss Magus, and Skuntank. Now, 2 mons on this team are a huge problem, well, 3 mons on this team are a huge problem to me. Tapubulu, Rotom Heat, and Tornadus. I'm not too worried about Empoleon, I'm not too worried about Gudra, I'm not too worried about Skuntank, I'm not too worried about Miss Magus, and I'm not too worried about Gliscor. But Tapubulu, I have literally nothing that wants to switch into that thing more than once. Rotom Heat, I struggle with immensely. And Tornadus Therian, the same as Rotom Heat. I struggle with that because it can just keep momentum against me, and I hate playing against momentum. I love playing with it. But yeah, the team that we're going to be bringing this week is going to be Hariyama, Tapu Koko, Mega Sizzle, Articuno, I nearly went to call it Anivia, Articuno, Latias, and Silvally, which is going to be I'll talk about Silvally later. But yeah, we're going to start off with Hariyama, and Hariyama this week is going to be ran with Flame Orb, Guts, Max Attack, Max Speed, Adamant. And the reason I've gone with Max Attack, Max Speed, Adamant is because I've known from doing this twice in PPL that Hariyama can creep a non-speed modest Gudra with Max Speed, Adamant. And I can see Gudra coming here as like an Assault Vest special defense variant to deal with Articuno, to deal with Latias, to deal with Silvally, to deal with Tapu Koko, to deal with, all of my special attackers, because it kind of shuts them all down. I felt like it would be a very good bring here. He could easily just run 12 speed on it, but I don't know if Bill's going to be the type of guy that would do that. So yeah, I normally like to creep things by 1 or 2 points so that I can just, be 100% sure, so I like to go like 3 speed over, 4 speed over, just a random couple of extra EVs, just so that I can creep random investment. But the thing about Hariyama here is that it kind of 2-shots his entire draft and then OHKOs half of it. So Ice Punch is a definite 2-hit KO on Bulu, and I can then finish off with Bullet Punch if I catch it on the switch. Slowbro does not enjoy 2 knockoffs, Empoleon dies to close combat, Gudra dies to Ice Punch, Gliscor, same as Gudra, Rotom Heat does not enjoy close combat, Tornadus Therian dies to Ice Punch if it's not quite heavily invested, Miss Magus dies to knockoff, Skuntank dies to close combat. Flame Orb Guts Hariyama is such a strong Pokemon because it has the ability to change up moves as well as hitting like a truck. I enjoy Bandyarma, but I've never really enjoyed Flame Orb so much, so I'm looking forward to seeing how this actually shows up, puts in a performance for me. Looking forward to this. And yeah, the next mon we have is Tapu Koko. My boy Romelu, he's had a bit of a name change. He's not Frosties anymore, he's Romelu Lutapu. I'm sorry about that pun, all you football fans out there, but hey ho. We've gone with Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Nature's Madness, Hidden Power, Ice with 228 special attack, 92 special defense, and 188 speed. The reason for that strange investment, is because I can now live a Choice Spec Sludge Wave from a Tornadus Therian. It will not kill me no matter what, and I can then kill it in return with a Thunderbolt. I need to make sure that Coco does not get whittled down unless I absolutely have to, but if it does, then I'll deal with it. Volt Switch is nice because I can then just Volt Switch on pretty much everything except for Gliscor, and if Gliscor does come in, I smack it with Hidden Power Ice. Obviously, I've got to be careful because I know that Gliscor can be EV to take Hidden Power Ices from things, but I don't particularly want to run U-Turn this week either because I'm not going to be hitting anything very hard, and Volt Switch still allows me to do loads of damage to stuff like Mismagus and Skuntank and Empoleon and Slowbro and Bulu while getting out of there, so I thought Volt Switch was better. Nature's Madness is simply in case Goodra wants to switch in, because I can then just bop that with like a Nature's Madness before getting on out of there with Volt Switch. And I like Magnet because it powers up my Thunderbolts for late game sweeps, which is very, very useful. But yeah, hoping that my boy Tapu Koko here can do things and stuff. Now the next mon is Mega Scizor. It doesn't matter about the ability because, you know, it's going to be Technician anyway. I actually quite like going Light Metal a lot of the time because it means that if I have to switch on like a Grass Knot or a Low Kick, then I actually take less damage from it, so I quite like doing that. But yeah, we've got Defog, Superpower, Bullet Punch, Roost, and I really don't like using Defog on Mega Scizor because I just don't enjoy it, but I mean, I haven't got anything else here that wants to be getting rid of rocks. Nothing else can fit Defog onto its moveset, and I kind of need Superpower because I need to hit Empoleon if it does come. I need to be able to hit Rotom Heat as well. I can't just go with solo Bullet Punch. I need Roost because I need to be able to switch into Tapu Bulu, Rinse and Repeat. And I need Bullet Punch because he's got a Tapu Bulu and a... what's the other one? Goodra and Tornadus Therian that are going to outspeed it and be able to do more damage to it. The EVs on this are quite interesting because I've got enough defense to be able to live two banded superpowers from Tapu Bulu and 2 non-invested Hidden Power Fires from Tapu Bulu. That's the one. I actually take those Hidden Power Fires a lot better than I thought I would, which is quite nice. As long as it doesn't have quite a bit of considerable investment, then I should be really good. Scizor here is pretty much just going to be switching into Tapu Bulu, switching into possible Empoleons, switching into Skuntank, but not necessarily Skuntanks. I know that thing can carry Flamethrower. Switching into Gliscor, not necessarily because Fire Fang, and possibly switching into Goodra, but once again, not necessarily because Fire Blast. It's not a lot that Scizor can actually switch into, but it's the only thing I have that can switch into Tapu Bulu, and if that's the only thing I can do, then that's what I'm going to have to do. So yeah, I'll take it and I'll run with it. The next one we have is Articuno Anivia coming in for her 3rd straight game after the success she had last week against RTK. I'm seeing if she can actually do more things. I've gone with considerable HP investment and a lot of speed. The speed is to outspeed a Goodra that's not Scarf. I doubt he'll bring Scarf Goodra. It's to outspeed Rotom Heat that isn't fully invested as well. If that thing comes defensively, I can scout that out pretty early with Latias and Silvally, that's the one. Now the reason I've gone with Sub Roost is because if Scizor goes down and Tapu Bulu is still around, I can outspeed it and then sub-stall its Stone Edges out until it has to Wood Hammer me, at which point I just kind of maul it with Roost. The 2 attacking moves I've gone with this week, I wanted to go with Bubble Beam. I was very tempted to go with Bubble Beam, but I felt like Ancient Power was a lot more accessible. Looking back on it, Bubble Beam kind of would have been quite nice, but it wouldn't have been able to get the boosts, which everyone loves the boosts. Ancient Power could have been, like, it could have come in very handy against the Rotom. I just needed something to hit fire types, and I didn't have any rock moves. Well, I had, obviously I had the Ancient Power, but I didn't have anything stronger. I could have gone with Bubble Beam, but that was a hassle to gen last time, and it didn't seem like it would offer too much extra. So yeah, that's Articuno. I've gone with considerable HP investment. I believe that is for living... Oh my god, what was it? It was for living something. I cannot remember for the life of me what it was. It might well have been to take a rock move from, say, Gliscor. I think that's what it was. I think it was to take an uninvested Stone Edge. It might have been to take flash cannons from Empoleon. It was for something, but I just can't remember. The next mon we have is Latias. Now, once again, very optimized EVs, very interesting EVs. I love having to go with random EVs. But as you can see, on Latias we have leftovers, modest nature, sorry, with Psychic, Reflect, Type, Recover, and Thunderbolt. I'm hoping this Latias can do so many shenanigans because a lot of his answers to Latias are things that can't hurt themselves, like Empoleon. That thing can go for Ice Beam against me, not if I'm a Water Steel type. And Rotom Heat, that thing can go for like Volt Switches and hurt me, but not if I'm a Fire Electric type. Tapu Bulu, it can go for Mega Horn against me, not if I'm... oh wait. But yeah, if I'm already a Water Steel type, then stuff like Tapu Bulu doesn't really become a counter then, with its, you know, its Mega Horn and stuff. If Skuntank comes in, that thing can't really trap me anymore with Pursuit because I'll be a Poison Dark type. I can Steel Stab Electric off of the Rotom. I can prevent myself from being burned by Reflect typing it before it Willows me. I can turn myself into a Ghost type and be able to do shenanigans against Slowbro. I just felt like it was a very, very good bring this week because I could just play tricksy games. I could even turn myself into Gliscor's typing, ground flying, and then avoid KOs from stuff like knockoff and stuff. It could be really useful. But yeah, the EVs here are so that I can outspeed a max speed Rotom Heat, I think, or it might have been, no, it was Gliscor. It was a max speed Jolly Gliscor. I can outspeed that. I don't think that's the Gliscor that will be coming if it does, but if it comes for some reason, I want to be at least prepared for it. Modest nature means I'm doing a lot more damage to everything. I can't really touch Goodra. I can't really touch Tapu Bulu too much. I can't really hurt Rotom Heat besides Psychic, but I should be able to win a battle against that as long as I'm not toxic. And yeah, that's pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with this Latias set, to be honest. And the final one we have is Silvally Electric with Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Surf, Parting Shot. With, once again, really interesting EVs. I've gone with 52, 60, 196, 172 and 28. Now that's very, very strange EVs, I understand. But I always have a reason for my EVs. I believe that Modest means that I can two-shot a... I think I can two-shot Tornadus Therian with Thunderbolt because that thing can be quite defensive at times. I can also two-shot Empoleon, Slowbro, I can two-shot Bulu, I can one-shot Gliscor, I can really hurt Rotom Heat with Surf. Not necessarily two-shot if it's specially invested, but Silvally should be able to put in a bit of a shift here. The random special defense and defense are so that I can take hits from Tornadus Therian a lot better, because that thing looks like it's going to be a real problem for me. Don't really have too much that wants to switch into it besides this Silvally. I switch in and I take less than 30% from a Thunderbolt, Hurricane, sorry, with these EVs. The defense investment is in case it wants to carry superpower. I lift the combination of 2 Hurricanes plus a superpower because of the EVs I have on it. And the speed is so that I can outspeed a slightly speedy Goodra, because I know that a lot of them decide to run stuff like 60 speed to outspeed stuff like my Hariyama in draft format, so I felt like having 28 would mean I'd be able to outspeed that. It'd be really interesting to see if this thing can do work. It means that I have a reliable switch in to Rotom Heat, along with Latias. I have another reliable one in Silvally, and I have a way of switching into Tornadus Therian. And this thing outspeeds a lot of its bulk and can kind of break through them with Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Surf and Parting Shot, so I'm quite happy with Silvally here. But yeah, that's the team, guys, and I'm really looking forward to this game, so without further ado, I'm just going to hand it over to Battle Alex and we'll see what happens. See you in a bit, guys. So here we are in the battle, and the 6 that he has brought are Rotom Heat, Empoleon, Tornadus Therian, Goodra, Gliscor, and Mismagius. Now I kind of predicted 4 out of these 6. I expected Rotom Heat, I expected Tornadus, I expected Goodra, I expected Gliscor, but I did not expect Empoleon and Mismagius. I expected Tapu Bulu and Skuntank. But now that Mismagius is here, I'm like, okay, I don't really have too much that can switch into this thing. And now that Empoleon is here, I'm like, I handle you with all of my offense. So I'm not too disappointed. But yeah, I feel like with what he's got, I feel like my Silvally is probably the best lead I have, because it at least allows me to gain some momentum turn 1 or smack a potential lead Rotom with a Surf. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to lead with Silvally, and yeah, we'll see what happens when Birmingham Spritzee took on Livwurmple FC. You are challenged by Pokemon Trainer Bill. Good luck, Bill. Let's have a great game. So he's going to lead with Snig on the barbecue, mate. That's his Rotom Heat, and I am going to turn my sound on ever so slightly, but I'm going to lead with Silvally because, like I said, it does the best against his team. So we're going to actually go for a parting shot because I would at least see if I was faster than him, or if this was like a Scarf offensive variant. But I'm going to parting shot right out into my Latias because if this thing wants to go for a Volt Switch, I'm going to take nothing from it. If it burns me, that's fine. And that's exactly what it decides to do. It decides to go for that Will-O-Wisp turn 1 to try and burn my Silvally, which is completely special anyway. I mean, the burn, I kind of appreciate not having it on Silvally because it doesn't have any recovery anyway, but it's nicer to have it on Latias, who has Recover. Now we're going to go straight for a Psychic here, I think. No, a Reflect type, I think we go for. We go for the Psychic, sorry. And we're going to smack that thing with a Psychic, and we're going to reveal that it's not specially defensive. In fact, it doesn't look to be too defensive at all. It looks like it's actually max speed, max attack, which is a bit, well, not attack, but special attack. We haven't discerned that yet, but we know that it's some kind of offensive speedy variant. Now I'm going to go for Reflect type just to see what he's going to try and hit us with, and we're going to become Water Steel type. We now resist its stabs, we can do all kinds of great stuff to it, but it reveals Knockoff. And that Knockoff it there, that's what reveals to me that this is max attack, because that did way too much to my Latias, who has a considerable bulk on both sides. But yeah, now that I'm Steel Water, I can go for a Psychic on the switch in, and I can actually go for Recover here. But I'm kind of forced to try and keep this thing a little bit healthy because I need it as a switch into Rotom and I need it as a switch into Empoleon. I can't really do that as well now, but I am going to Reflect type as it tries to Volt Switch me being a Water type, because I was currently a Water Steel type. I've had to become a Fire Electric type so that its Volt Switch doesn't hit me for super effective damage, and as you can see, that's going to do absolutely nothing. So yeah, it's pretty nice. We're already doing some shenanigans with Latias early game, and he's going to go right back into this thing. Now, I thought that maybe this thing would have Surf, or maybe it would have Waterfall, so I decided to go for a Reflect type here, as it goes for the Aqua Jet, hits me for super effective damage, and does a heck of a chunk to me. As I actually go for a Thunderbolt, as, I wanted to see how much damage I do to this thing. It looks like that would have killed without the berry. So we've popped it to a Canberry. We're completely fine, but we can't really stay in against this thing because it's got Aqua Jet. I don't really want to have to be taking those too much. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch right out into Mega Scizor because we don't really care about a physical Empoleon too much. And as you're going to see, this Aqua Jet is going to do absolutely nothing, like 27 damage, and that's even before we're Mega Evolved. So at this point, he's going to go right back into his Rotom, as we're actually going to go straight for a Superpower. So I can at least discern whether this Rotom is specially defensive or physically defensive from this damage. So yeah, we're going to go straight for that Superpower after the Mega Scizor decides to come out and show its face. And yeah, it's going to do about 75%, I believe. Maybe about 70 with the crit. The crit's very unfortunate, but it does mean that we can discern that this thing is at least physically defensive, because a crit normally wouldn't do that much at all, but it's nice to at least have some kind of damage. We are forced to switch out here, which is unfortunate, and we are going to go out into Silvally because he's kind of the only Rotom switching we have left. Go for that, go into this thing and hopefully maybe parting shot on whatever wants to come in. Now, Bill is going to make a series of plays here which are going to be fantastic. He's going to go into the Miss Magus, and I'm thinking here, I'm going to pause it for a second, because I'm thinking, what do I do to this Miss Magus? Do I stay in, and do I go for a Thunderbolt? Do I go for a Surf? But I'm kind of thinking no. I would like to go for a parting shot on this thing, and see what happens from there. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to go for a parting shot, because I don't really have any switch-ins left to it. But what Bill's going to do is he's going to pull the most majestic of double switches and go right back out into the Empoleon. And as you're going to see, this parting shot is going to hit this Empoleon. And we're going to reveal that it is indeed Defiant. So my -1 attack has turned into +1 attack. And the -1 special defense... special attack has turned into +3 attack. So now this is a +3 attack Empoleon with Aqua Jet, and I don't have much to do. So what I decide to do is I go right into Latias, take the burn damage, because I realise that a +3 attack Empoleon Aqua Jet does have a chance to kill me, but it's a heavy roll in my favour. But I have two choices here. One, I go for a Thunderbolt and hope that he goes for a knockoff. Two, I go for a Recover, hoping that he goes for an Aqua Jet. Now, I think Bill has seen this calc, and he knows that if I go for a Thunderbolt and kill him, an Aqua Jet will still put him in range, will still put my Latias in range of a burn. So that's really, really good. It's really good to know that I at least have two plays to make. I decide we're going to go for a Recover, because this Latias is too important for him to risk losing his Empoleon to... like that. Like, he'd rather go for the safe play to try and wear it down than to go for the risky knockoff. So we're going to hit play and we're going to see what happens. He does indeed go for the Aqua Jet. That is going to be a very important move. It doesn't get the high roll. In fact, it gets a very low roll. I go for Recover. That puts me right back up at half health. The burn's obviously going to take me down just below. So, yeah, we're actually doing really well right now. We can go for another Thunderbolt, as he actually goes for a knockoff this turn. So, that's fantastic, and that Empoleon is down. That was looking very scary for a second, but now that that thing's out the way, I'm hoping that, we can kind of move on. I am going to have to try and recover on something, and that something is not going to be this Miss Magus, because Miss Magus is an absolute pest. I don't have anything that wants to switch into it except for my Tapu Koko. So that's exactly what's going to happen. We're going to go into Koko. I know I can live a Spec Shadow Ball, so he's going to go for a Shadow Ball. It's going to do a hefty chunk, but this damage is going to reveal to me that that is indeed Spell Tag. It does not have a... it does not have Specs, it does not have Scarf, it's Spell Tag. Or Spooky Plate, or whichever one. He's going to reveal Protect as I go for my Volt Switch, but I'm going to go for another one, and he's going to stay in because he knows he can deal a lot of damage to whatever wants to come in. And I had to pick my switch in very carefully here, but I gathered that he's not going to go for a Mystical Fire because it wouldn't kill Koko from where it was. He kind of has to go for a Shadow Ball, and Mega Sizzle can take that fairly well and threaten it back out with Bullet Punch. And that's exactly what I'm going to go for, as he's going to go right back out into Snag on the barbecue, mate. Snag on that barbecue, fam. I'm going to go for a Bullet Punch, and this is going to take absolutely nothing from that. Like, it's going to get that health back from leftovers. I'd like to see the actual damage roll, because it didn't do too much at all. But yeah, it's pretty nice knowing that whenever that thing comes in, I have a free switch out into Silvally, but he's actually going to predict that and go out into his Tornadus. I'm not sure why he'd go into the Tornadus on my Silvally switch in, because now I'm going to reveal, like I've already revealed earlier, that I'm Silvally Electric. I don't have the terrain, so Thunderbolt isn't going to be an OHKO, but I can safely Parting Shot. But here he reveals his Z move. It's if you can't recognise the animation, that's all out pummeling. And this is going to do a hell of a lot of damage to me, because I believe it was the Focus Blast. I was expecting the Superpower, if anything, and that's gonna just... oh, look at that damage. So much damage. But the great news is, I am now not in roll of a... I'm still not in range of a Hurricane. I did go for a Parting Shot, because I didn't think he'd want to stay in against it. But yeah, I'll go for a Parting Shot, and now I'm kind of safe to go out into my big Tapu Koko. who just threatens this thing out whenever it comes in. It's really nice to have something that is just able to rip through his team. So yeah, Tornadus is just chilling in front of me. And he's actually going to withdraw it now. He's not going to risk it with any U-turns. He's going to go out into Goodra, which is my fetish. Shiny Goodra. I always love the shiny Goodra. It looks so cool. And we're going to go for that Volt Switch. It's, as you're going to see, going to do quite a bit more than I expected, which kind of shows me that's not an Assault Vest Goodra. So I go out into Adam Sandler the Hariyama, knowing that I can take any hit from a Goodra and potentially outspeed it if it's specially defensive, but I've already ascertained it's not. So I'm a bit confused. I am just going to go for a close combat because I know that would kill the Goodra from the range it's at. And he's going to predict this and go straight into Gliscor. If I'd gone for Ice Punch here, it would have been amazing and that thing would have just gone. But Hariyama is still going to do a hefty chunk with its close combat. However, I am now in range of an Aerial Ace because I'm at -1 defense. If this thing has a bit of attack investment, it can one-shot me with an Aerial Ace. It is going to get poisoned, but the Toxic Heal means that it's, you know, it's not even a thing, it's not even a problem, but we are going to switch out. We're going to go out into our Articuno, because this thing threatens out pretty much anything that wants to come in. Anivia's going to come in here, Shiny Articuno, Phoenix of Glory, and he's going to go for Roost. That's fine by me. Free switch, you can have your health back, but I'm going to get the momentum. Like, my games all this season have pretty much came down to gaining momentum and switching in and out with Volt Switch and U-turn. I love it. So he's now going to go out into Sneagon the Barbecue Mate, and I'm going to go for a Substitute. This was an interesting play, because Substitute is really nice to be able to, you know, gauge damage, and I am going to reveal my leftovers by doing that, but I felt a lot better to do that than to actually make a play. I felt like here I needed to kind of ascertain how much HP investment this thing had. I would like to see how much my Ancient Power does to it, so I am going to go for an Ancient Power. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to go for that Ancient Power. It's going to knock it down, and it doesn't look like with leftovers it might not kill from this range. It might not, but it is in range of other things. He's going to go for Overheat. It's going to break my sub. But this is going to be interesting, because now he's at about an 80% chance not to break my sub with a Volt Switch. So I feel like I actually have a good chance of going for a sub and it's still being up at the end of the turn after he Volt Switches, giving me momentum to then hit something with a Freeze Dry or Roost. So yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for another Substitute because I don't know if he's going to break my sub. I don't think he will. It doesn't look like he's got much investment, so he's going to go for a Volt Switch, and as you're going to see, that's not going to break my sub, because the -2 means that this thing is not offensive invested, and it's going to go into Goodra. Now, I kind of wanted to ascertain what this Goodra set was, and I felt like Articuno was the best mon to be able to do that with. Like, if it was defensive, I'm definitely going to outspeed it, or am I? Because it does reveal the Rock Slide, and it does show the Scarf. So, Scarf Rock Slide from this thing is a bit of a pain, and it's obviously going to break my sub, but it does mean we can get a free Freezy Dry onto this thing. And that's really nice because I know it's not offensive, it's not specially defensive invested. That looks like it might just 2-hit KO if I'm lucky. But Articuno is still at a pretty high amount of health, really doing quite well here with it. So I don't really want to have to take another one, but he's going to actually withdraw first, and he's going to go out into Sneagon the Barbecue Mate as I pull the switch out into my Hariyama. No, I go into Tapu Koko, sorry. Trying to predict my own plays, god damn it. Yeah, I go out into Tapu Koko because I do know that a Thunderbolt and a Volt Switch, they do actually have a chance to kill this thing from here, and they're my best moves to hit this thing with. So I decide just to go for a Volt Switch because if it doesn't kill, then I at least get to go into something to take the hit. But he's actually going to predict this and go out into Sneep Sneep Mate. He's going to go out into Sneep Sneep the Gliscor, and it's going to, you know, be immune to the Thunderbolt. And now I'm like, I could hit this with a HP Ice, but it wouldn't kill. So I'm just going to switch straight out into Anivia, see what it wants to do to me. And yeah, going to get my pressure. He's actually going to reveal, though, that he's pulling double switches all over the place. He's going to go out into Kevina. That's the Miss Magus. I know that this thing might just be in range of a Freeze Dry, but I do know this thing carries Power Gem. I do know this thing has Power Gem, and if Bill has seen any of my last few games, he'll know that Articuno does a hell of a lot of work for me. So I don't particularly want to have to risk taking a potential Power Gem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict him to have it, and I'm going to go out into Hariyama. So what we're going to do here, we're going to switch out, we're going to go into Hariyama. I know I will take next to nothing from a, what do you call it, a Shadow Ball. I'll take like nothing from Power Gem. Shadow Ball won't be able to do much, and that I do indeed get that prediction correct. Get a little bit of burn damage, but I'm a Hariyama, I don't really care. And he's now got to pick a fodder. I go straight for Ice Punch because I know that it will kill the Miss Magus from where it's at, and he actually predicts this wrong and goes into Tornadus. So I'm going to smack this thing with an Ice Punch, and that's just going to straight up die. Guts boosted Ice Punch is more than enough to take out that Tornadus, and we're now 6-4 up. It's been quite a tense game so far. A lot of pivots, a lot of double switches from his side, and he's been playing me quite well, but I feel like I do have a handle on this game now. So he's going to go out into the Miss Magus. I do have Bullet Punch. He's not going to, he's going to protect the Scout for it. But it's kind of like, I know that Shadow Ball won't kill me, so I feel like I can actually predict this well if I get this right. So he now knows I have Bullet Punch. He now knows I can, you know, revenge this thing from where it's at. So he has to switch out, and he's going to choose to go into Snip Snip. And obviously I just go for another Bullet Punch because I wanted to see if I could call his bluff. And it's not going to do much to the Gliscor. It does about 20%, and that's mostly going to get healed back up from Poison Heal. But the state of the game at the moment is that he's trying to get me to a point where his Gliscor and his Scarf Goodra can kind of clean up. So he's going to go out into Kavina, and I'm actually going to call his bluff on this one and go straight for an Ice Punch because I knew he might do something like that. He's trying to predict me all over the place, and I'm just not having it. Like, I have the momentum, I have the initiative, I'm not going to let you grab it. Now he's going to go out into My Fetish, and I was thinking maybe if he goes for a Banded Outrage or a Scarf Outrage, that will do considerable hurt to my team. He is actually going to, in a minute, you'll see, go for the Dragon Pulse. But I do predict this, not predict it, sorry, I go into Anivia, who seemed to be the best one to take, say, a Scarf Outrage. And he's going to reveal the Dragon Pulse. And this damage shows me that that is actually specially attack invested, so its Rock Slides aren't actually invested. Which I think, honestly, is a bad play, a bad piece of prep, because Fire Blast is actually going to hit harder than a non-invested Scarf Rock Slide. So Dragon Pulse is going to take me down to 43, and I'm going to go for another Freezy Dry. And it's going to take this Goodra down to just, like, 1 health. But we're going to snag the second freeze in 2 games. Articuno once again putting in the finest of work. Sub Articuno just putting in work. He's going to switch out now, and that freeze kind of solidified the game for me. He's going to go into Snip Snip, and I just went for an Ancient Power just to finish off the Articuno, maybe snag some boosts, maybe to finish off the Goodra, snag some boosts, and we don't get the boosts, but we are faster than this Gliscor because it has to be defense invested. It won't be carrying a rock move, and we can finish it off with a Freeze Dry, and it does look to me like Articuno is going to finish the game, but it runs out of time. For the second game in 3 games, we've run out of time, and the game has had to go down to timer. That is going to result in a 6-3 win for me this time, rather than a 4-3 loss, but that's still fantastic. I just wish there was another 5 minutes on the clock so that Articuno could have picked up those 3 kills. It would have meant that I would have had a +6 from this game rather than a +3, because Goodra was at no health and frozen. I outsped and O-code the Gliscor, and Rotom looked to be on enough health that I could switch into, say, Hariyama on a potential overheat and just finish it off from there. But it did look like this game was completely gone for him. It looked like Articuno was going to clean up and pick out 3 more kills, but we just ran out of time. I can't really have too much complaints though. I feel like I played the game very well. I felt like I did well trying to handle the threats that it did bring. I felt like I made 2 manly plays with the Latias and the Tornadus switch in, and the staying in on the Gliscor with Ice Punch. So I felt like I made a couple of really nice plays that ended up kind of really helping me win the game. And yeah, Bill really came with some really interesting things, like Scarf Goodra, didn't expect that in the slightest. Physical Empoleon, didn't really expect it, because I had Sizzle who could kind of just switch into it all day, every day. but I didn't bank into thinking about Parting Shot and Defiant. I didn't think that it would count both drops individually. I thought that it would just count them both at the same time and then give him the boost from just the one of them. I thought it would go make a -1 into a +1, not make a -1 into a +3 -1. So that really caught me off guard, but it was a really fun game, to be honest. I actually had a lot of fun playing this one. So I'm really happy with the way that I played, the way that Bill prepped, and I'm really pleasantly surprised with this game. So yeah, thank you very much for that, Bill. Thank you for your game. I'll put links to him down in the description. He's actually a very interesting bloke. He did the top 30 hottest PokeTubers with Gregulator, Claw of Hermos. So yeah, I'm actually in that video. I'm actually 23rd out of 30. So I can't really complain too much, but yeah, next week is actually going to be a big promotion clash because the next 2 weeks I am playing Kyle, K to the 2, and I'm also playing Potato Jim. So both of them are hunting for a promotion, and if I beat Kyle, I feel like I have a fantastic chance of getting promoted, or at least finishing 3rd. I feel like 3rd was my aim after I lost to Liam. 3rd seemed to be the best I could hope for, but now it seems to be that I can actually potentially get 2nd or even 1st if I'm very lucky. I don't expect 1st, but 2nd would be an absolute revelation. Like, I'd be absolutely over the moon with that. I don't expect to be the champion of D2 this season, simply because I don't feel like I deserve it. But I'd be more than happy with 2nd. But yeah. With that being said, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, don't forget to check all of the links down below. Go check out my opponent, go check out all the other D2 coaches, and yeah, I'll see you back here next week for another game. And yeah, see you later, guys. Have a good day.